We're in early. JJ, age and pronouns, please.
Hello, I'm JJ and I'm 18 and I go by he, him.
Thank you. Which prompt do you disagree with?
Body count doesn't matter. I disagree with that.
Sure. What would you say about it?
Say that again, please.
What would you like to say about it?
Well, if a woman or a man, let's say that, they have a body count of 20 or more than that, what would you think? What would you think? What would you think they would like? That body count means to them. What do you think?
I don't know. I don't really judge, so I don't care.
So body count doesn't matter because you don't judge.
Well, why? It doesn't tell me anything factual about who they are as a person, so that doesn't give me any information about who they are.
But I said they had 20 body counts, which means they do something. And that
Doesn't tell
something
me
could mean they're
who they are.
a star or do OF or
No,
do
it
something.
doesn't. You don't
That
have to,
does.
you don't have to have schmecks to be on OF, you know, right?
I mean, I don't know.
So again, who's the one judging right now? You or me?
Both.
No, I haven't made any judgments. You're the one that's made the claim that they are someone who's likely to be a corn star on OF. I'm just countering
Well,
your judgment by saying you don't know that to be true.
Yeah, but we're taking a guess right now. That isn't the truth, but we're taking a guess.
You're taking a guess because you're operating from insecurities and judgments, right? Where's my judgment?
Your judgment. I don't think you have a judgment on them.
You just said we're both judging, so where did I judge?
Well, you're judging me.
How am I judging you?
Because you just said I'm judging, and then you're judging me for what I'm saying.
Well, yeah, because you haven't given any proof as to how you've come to that assumption. So if you're making assumptions about someone, that's coming from somewhere within you, right? Like you don't have any facts, but for some reason you feel like you need them.
Okay, that's fair. All right, I want you to educate me, so you can, I don't know, just educate me on whatever you would like.
Well, I'm just
please.
explaining that, like, your view on someone's body count is an assumption, right? You've automatically assumed they must be on OF or that they're a porn star. So you need to unpack that and explore the reasons why you think that. You know, someone having schmecks has got nothing to do with what they do for work, but for some reason you feel bothered about the number. When you sorry, go on.
No, it's true. My bad. You continue, bro. My bad.
So let's say that you meet a woman for the first time on a date, right? And imagine you're not allowed to ask a woman her body count.
Okay.
Or if you did, she just doesn't answer it, right? How would you be able to figure out whether or not you could be compatible with her?
I would do the responsible thing and give it time. That's what I would do. I would do the responsible thing and give it time.
What are you looking for? Like, what are you looking
for? I want to know, like, I would want to look for the woman that if she's saying that, if she can't give me her body count, I'll be like, okay, I understand. It's something personal. But in time, I will ask again, but not obviously immediately again after a week or something.
My hypothetical is that you are not allowed to know her body count, not in 10 years' time, not in 3 months' time. I'm saying from this point forward, no woman is ever going to tell you her body count. My next question is, are you going to be single for the rest of your life, or are you still going to try and get to know women?
I'm still going to try and get to know women, of course.
So what are you going to look for to then make a decision for yourself to say, do you know what? I like spending time with this person. I feel like I'm developing a connection with them. Let's see if it can go somewhere.
I would try and figure out personality, if you ask me.
I like that. Perfect. So what things about her personality are you going to look for that would again lead you to say, I really like this person. I want to get to know them more and date them again?
Well, for example, if she's happy, if she's genuine, or if she's like, let's just say if she's cold or something like that, that's her. I understand her. Then I would try and be more supportive to her and make her more genuine than cold. So either way, if she's happy or not.
JJ, sorry, I have to interject. I'm not asking you to try and change someone. I'm asking you to tell me what you would be looking for in someone that would lead you to want to continue getting to know them. So give me the characteristics. Don't tell me something you want to change about them.
I know you were trying to say that. I know, but that's why I was trying to get to the point. My bad. If you didn't understand, if I was looking in for a person, I want her to be respectful,
Okay.
happy towards me,
Yep.
and I want her to speak without lies. That's all I want from
Perfect.
her,
Let's
which is
pause there
truth.
for a second. Let's say that this woman has all of those things, and you continue to date her.
Okay.
Right? Would it be fair to say that those characteristics can be from someone that has a high body count or a low body count?
Well, I couldn't tell. That's the thing. I can't
So,
tell.
so there you go. That's why you've just proved my point why body count doesn't matter, because you couldn't tell,
Okay.
right? So what I'm saying is
Yeah.
it's not the body count that matters, right? That doesn't tell you who she is as a person. But if you're getting to know her and you find that she's respectful, you find that she's happy towards you, and the other thing that you mentioned, being honest, I think you said, right? Then that's who she is as an individual. Her body count is not
Okay.
necessarily a reflection on that.
But it shows something from her past. That's the
What does
point
it
of
show?
it. It shows her that she's been with other men and things, like she's done something. I'm not saying if she was doing something bad or good. I'm just saying that she's done
Okay,
something with those men.
but you're not explaining how that bothers you, like, because you just
Because
gave.
I don't know if she would. Because I don't know if she would do that to me. That's the thing. If she just smacks with me and after she leaves, that's the thing.
So there's
That's literally it.
I'm not saying it's bad,
Well,
but
if
I'm saying that that's the insecurity, right? Your insecurity on it is that you think that she will just treat you as another number and then might leave you, right? So my point here is, as you already said, you do not know anything about her from her body count, but you do know whether she's respectful, happy towards you, and honest because you've
Yeah.
experienced that. So therefore, if you're never going to know what her body count is, but you've met someone that has all those things, and that's what you're looking for, that individual
Yeah.
can have all those things, but also have a body count of 30, and you'd never know. But you're still forming a
course.
connection with her.
Yeah, of course. But the thing is, that's why I need to know about her.
No, you
I'm
don't.
not just gonna.
You want to know.
Yes, I have to. You have to. If you know a person from her personality, and that's
You
it.
don't need to know it, you want to know it. That's the difference. You want to know it because that will help with either your insecurity or give you a reason to just leave yourself.
From saving myself from getting hurt is bad.
The assumption is you're going to get hurt. The insecurity within you is telling you that you're going to get hurt, which is why you're assuming it's the right thing to do by leaving.
Until if I leave her, but she told me the truth. She told me. I know you just said that she will never tell me her body count and things like that. But things like that. But if she has a body count of 30, like you said, but I will never know. But then she cheats on me. I wasted time with her.
Whoa, you've done it again. You're predicting the future you don't know to happen. You're doing ifs and buts and maybes, right? That's like me saying, okay, what if you met someone who has a body count of 0 and she cheats on you? Then you've wasted all your time. We didn't throw cheating into the hypothetical anyway. And this is what I mean about insecurities, you are bringing more things into the variable and equation to try and suit your position that a high body count is a safe assumption to leave and not be involved with her. Because you've just gone and added cheating into it. No one mentioned cheating. So my position on body count is that I think if a man has an issue with a woman's body count, it's rooted in misogyny or insecurities. And I'm saying that the examples you've given here in this conversation is showing the insecurity. Now, I'm not saying it's bad to have insecurities. I think it's bad.
No, it's good to have insecurity.
Well, I think it's good if you own them. I think it's bad if you project your insecurities onto someone else, though. You know?
I mean, if you say your insecurities to yourself, you're trying to be 2 steps ahead of that person. If she cheats on you, I'm saying if.
It's an assumption again. Like you.
Then what's the point of not?
Because you think.
My bad.
No, hold on. It's not that there should be a point to having insecurities. It's recognizing just why you have them in the first place. The point that's being made here is you are assuming that being 2 steps ahead is that you've predicted the future. You can't predict the future on someone on whether they're going to cheat or not and assume that body count will lead you to know that they will or won't. So you're adding ifs, you're adding maybes, you're adding possibilities, and you're taking away from the fact that this individual you might have met, you've already connected with.
Okay. But if you don't guess, what's the point then? If you don't guess, well, you just stay in the past,
Okay.
but you don't think about the future.
So if that's the case, then any woman you go on a date with, don't communicate with them, don't say anything to them, just guess whether or not it's going to work out. Tell me if that's logical.
That's not logical.
But you said that we should just guess. So that's
No.
that's what you're saying.
Host, listen.
Just guess.
Host, listen. If you don't guess about the person, and if whatever you're wrong or right, if you're wrong, then you take that mistake. But if you're right, then you understand more about that person. That's why communication is more important.
Never know about being right because you've given examples of predicting the future, and it's a future you wouldn't have with them.
That's why you have to add that. Okay, continue. Do you want me to talk or you talk? Which one?
I didn't know you had finished. Sorry, I thought you were still.
No.
Right. So,
Like I was saying.
yeah, so you can't guess at something because you said if you end up being right. How are you going to end up being right if you're not with them? You can't say I was right. She was going to cheat on me. You're not going to know that. You can't
What?
guess. I'll tell you what, JJ. I don't think you're following the conversation, and that's fine.
I am.
No,
I am. I'm truly am. I promise I am.
But then I don't know why you're
Actually, yeah.
responding. I don't know why you're responding by laughing at the comments when all I'm doing is showing you how the examples you're giving don't make sense in this
Okay.
conversation. You're the one that's saying these things, and I'm trying to show you how saying those things doesn't add up.
So, listen. Before I say anything else, if I was being disrespectful to you, I'm sorry if I was.
No, you weren't.
My
I
bad.
don't think it's that. I just don't know how else I can continue with that part of the
No.
conversation. You know?
You can just ask me. You're JJ. Can I lead to my point? And you can say that. That's why. If you want to talk.
Okay,
That's
so
what I'm
the way it usually works is I hear what the guest says, and then I respond back to what they've said to try and get them to see how what they're saying isn't logical or doesn't follow. So what you're saying is not consistent. You're saying that it's worth guessing, and then you said that you might end up proving to be right about something. And I'm saying, how are you going to know that when what you're trying to guess is something in the future that you're also not actually going to experience?
Okay. Normally in a relationship, I'm asking you this. Normally in a relationship, what would you do? Like, you know the person, you know what she does, you know what she doesn't.
Right.
You know what I mean? What she likes, she doesn't like.
Okay.
But you don't. You feel like you're missing something. You ask her about it, but she just brushes it off. What do you do then? Do you just stay silent until you find out, or you just find out yourself? You
You
tell
have to
me.
reflect on how important it is to you and why. Why is it a necessity for you to know this part of this missing piece of information?
Because it can deeply hurt you, or
How can
or
body
it can just
How can body count deeply hurt you?
because you're you're in a relationship, and you don't know her body count, but you want to find out. You ask her, she doesn't give it to you. Okay, that's fine. Then you take predictions. And whenever you're wrong or right, and if you're right, I said if you're right, then you leave that person. But if you're wrong, stay with that person. It's simple.
Sorry, so at that part, what are you right about? What is it? What information is she giving you that you're now right about?
About her body count. If her body count is high or low.
So if she tells, so are you saying this is after you're already in a relationship with them?
What? Say that again, please.
Are you saying this is when you're already in a relationship with them?
Yes.
Okay, so why are you in a relationship with someone if you already feel there's information you need that you haven't got yet? That doesn't make sense to me.
If I need information about that person because my insecurities are gonna get onto my head.
Yeah,
That's
so
the
why
thing.
did
I can't sleep.
So why did you commit to being in a relationship with that person if you know there are certain insecurities you're holding on to that might impact that relationship?
That's why you gotta speak with them. That's why.
Yeah,
Because
before you commit to a relationship, surely. Why would you get into the relationship first?
good question. That is a good question. Why would you get in a relationship with a person if you don't know anything about her? Is that what you're saying?
No, I didn't say you don't know anything. You made the point that for you there's a necessity or a certain part of information that you need to know, and then if you find out from her that it's something you don't like, you leave her. And I'm saying, why would you get into a relationship with someone where you would still have the possibility to leave based on something that she says you don't know about? You ask first, you gain information first, and then if you feel comfortable being with this person based on your experiences with them, then you commit.
Yes, of course, you commit if you feel comfortable with them, of course. But if you feel uncomfortable, you gotta ask. You can't just stay in silent and feel pain.
But
You
JJ, this
can't.
is like, okay, so this is how your hypothetical plays out, right? I need to know your body count. And she goes, I'm not going to tell you. And then you go, okay, fine, I'm happy to be in a relationship with you regardless. And then 2 months down the line, she tells you, go, okay, I'm leaving, bye. Like, what? Who does that?
I don't know who would do that. I don't think there's people
But it sounds
who
like you would do
but
that because that's what you said you would do. You know?
the thing is, I'm not going to leave that person if she has a high or low body count. I'm not going to leave. If she leaves me, then I understand. I do not own her. She's not mine. She's not like an object or anything to me. I do not own her. But all I want to know if her body count is high or low. That's it. And I will tell her anything that she wants. I will tell her like, hey,
you just said you wouldn't leave her if her body count was high.
high or low, it doesn't matter because
So you wouldn't leave her.
in reality, if her body count does, if it does matter, if her body count does matter, okay. What type of body count would be concerning? You tell me, like, what would you say a body count would be concerning? You give me a number, please.
It wouldn't. I don't care for body count. It doesn't take anything away from who she is as a person. I've already said this. I wouldn't ask the question. I wouldn't care about the number.
Okay, so you think, so you, like you said, body count does not matter. Okay, understandable. Now, the reason why I'm saying body count matters is to understand that person, to see what type of, how can I say this? What type of understanding you have against her. If she has a body, I'm saying this again, if she has a high body count, you understand that she had a troubling past. If she has a low body count...
No, that's not a fact. That's an assumption again. Why have you
That's an assumption, yes.
Why have you equated high body count to troubling past?
Troubling past. If I don't make a guess, then what's the point of not me guessing?
Okay, I'll tell you what, JJ, because we're getting circular now. And the reason why is because every time you make an assumption, I allude to you that that's your insecurity. And then sometimes you kind of hear it and don't, but then you keep coming back to bringing up another assumption rooted in an insecurity. What I'm trying to get you to understand is body count is not the problem. It's your insecurity that's the problem. It's your interpretation of what that body count means to you, right? They're more likely to cheat. They've had a troubled past. They're likely to leave me. These are the three things you've given in this conversation, and they're all things you're worried about. Okay, so if you're worried about these so if you're worried about these three things and you think it's because of body count, then you are connecting two things together that isn't factual. It's not necessarily true that because someone has a high body count, these three things are more likely to happen or are going to happen.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay.
That's fine. That's fine to know. Okay.
All right. Thanks for coming up.
Thank you. No, thank you for teaching me. Thank you, man.
Cheers,
thank you, Lex.
Kitty, hello.
Hello. Kitty 42, she, her. So if there's anyone new here, I'm one of the mods, and there's a lovely team of mods down there that many of you just seem to be choosing to ignore. So I thought I'll come up here and answer a few of the very quick questions. I'm very aware there's guests waiting, but I think this is needed. This is an educational space for men to unpack misogyny. You will hear misogynistic rhetoric, okay? We know that's triggering. We know that's frustrating. If you're getting triggered, if you're starting to insult, please take yourself out the chat. What we don't do here is insult others. For example, commenting on penis size, saying, oh, well, they're bald, you can have hair, to lift up the good men. We're not doing that. We don't comment anything like that here. We lead with respect. No, we can't pin comments either. Yes, it is only men up on the panel. Yes, it's only mods up on the panel to support like myself. Yes, women do come up on the panel who are mods. If you can't be respectful, if you're ableist, get out the chat. We understand if this is not the live for you, but seriously, it is an absolute ick. And finally, don't tag the guests. If 5 mods have literally said, one after another, do not tag the guests, that means don't tag the guests. We can't explain it any further. I'm up here explaining it. All this is doing is time wasting. All right, you're wasting mods' time. You're wasting your own time from enjoying the live. Okay, seriously, get out the chat. This is not the live for you, we understand. Okay? We don't do tone policing here. We're not dealing with pushback towards the mods. If you don't like it here, just move on. Simple as that. All right? Simple as that. JJ, this is not towards you. This is towards everyone in this absolute frustrating, but sometimes quite a wonderful educational space. So can we actually get back to it? Like, seriously, why am I having to tell adults not to make insults in an educational space when you've got literally at least 5 mods telling you not to? All right? Simple as that. Get out. You can say what you like in your own room, in your own house, in your own space. Just keep it out the fucking chat. Seriously. Right, I'm done. Please drop me, Lex.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Appreciate
Thank you.
Bye. Have we had any cut requests yet, though? I'm definitely intrigued for that. All right, let's get back to it. Amin, age, and pronouns, please. No? Okay. Age and pronouns, please.
Hello, I'm 25, and my pronouns is he, him.
Thank you. Which prompt
Good
do you
afternoon,
disagree
actually. Sorry, what?
with? Which prompt do you disagree with?
I can't even know where to start with, to be honest. I kind of feel like each prompt I have a little bit of disagreement, and each prompt I have a little bit of agreement on. But yeah, I mean, I really like the way you talk. There's no name calling, and there's no rage baiting in this stream at all. So I really like the way you talk. So yeah, I mean, I'm just gonna pick some random stuff to talk from. So the first one, we said that men have never provided for women. They restrict women from providing for themselves. I mean, that sentence can be understood in multiple ways. Can you like do a little bit of explanation for like what you exactly mean by that?
I think the most obvious in history is, financial, right? If women weren't allowed to work, weren't allowed to own property, couldn't have a credit card, bank account, weren't allowed to own land, then technically, when we look at the men in power at the moment, pretty much men have the wealth, as well as all of the, laws that were put in place, rights that were put in place. So when were women ever able to hold any systemic power to be able to, I suppose help or, support women to thrive? In all different areas, men are the ones that have made the decisions and pushed on those gender roles. And that's what's pushed women back so far. So I don't think like men have provided for women by sort of saying, hey, we're not going to let you, so therefore we will. And now we can call ourselves providers because of it. It's kind of like, really? That's not providing for women. That's basically saying you can't provide, so therefore we will. So yeah, essentially that's kind of how I see it. In the same breath, every single time men talk about being providers, they'll always talk about things like, men go to war, men provide safety, etc. And it's like, what doesn't really provide safety? Like millions of people, thousands of people, millions of people get harmed. Lots of women get raped, essayed, kidnapped. Same happens to children. It's not a protective thing. It's not providing that kind of safety. But in the same breath, what were the women doing while men were at war to keep the country running? Like they were providing everything to keep the world or that country continuing. So the way men view providing is always just from a financial standpoint.
Okay, so basically the main point. I mean, there's like a lot of there's some other like outer question of like safety and everything. Basically, the main point I want to make here is that, for example, like 100 years ago, women are not allowed to work. I think it's like 200 years ago, but anyway, it's basically that men are just forbidding women from taking certain jobs or even just odd jobs and just providing them financially and then call it providing while not allowing women to actually work on anything like that. That's like your point, right?
Well, there was also a period in time when women were able to work, but their money went straight to their husbands as well. So again,
yes.
So how were women able to then, be the ones to say, hey, we're the providers, like we'll provide? There was never that opportunity. There was never that equity or equality.
Yeah, I do agree with that. I mean, like there are quite often cases that there are like powerful women with like a weaker husband, and then the husband just get laughed on because he's like, I don't know, depending on the women to like get a living. But yeah, I think I do agree with that, and that there are like cases that women are just like forbidding in some kind of work case, or even like when they're working, their money directly go to the husband, and those cases should not be justified. But there's like one assumption I don't really agree with you in this kind of topic is that, for example, you're saying that men are the rule makers for certain fields, certain industry and everything, like semiconductors and even education, things like that. But I think the category is not perfectly correct in this case, but because there are a lot of men who are not having power in that case, it's just like those 1% rich men are having the power to do certain things. So it's not really like a men versus women thing in that sense. I don't think I provide like perfect example and perfect explanation on that. So do you have like any point on that?
Sure. So would you agree that the traditional role of a man has always been a protector and a provider, if we're talking about from a traditional standpoint?
Yes, that's always like how those like traditionalists are talking about, yeah.
Cool. Okay, so imagine like a man from when that started to be the thing, right? Men are the providers, blah, blah. And imagine if like there was a man going on a date with a woman and she's like, so what do you offer me in a relationship? And he's like, well, I'm a protector, I'm a provider. That's always something that men have been able to just use as a label to kind of give themselves this power dynamic and this way of saying like, hey, I've got something to offer already for just being a man. I can claim to be a protector and I can claim to be a provider, right? So yes. If we're saying that it's only 1% of men that can actually provide on that level, then we need to remove men being providers as a phrase, because like 1% wouldn't represent the other 99.
Yes.
So technically, if that's what you're saying, then that kind of supports what I'm saying, which is that men aren't the providers. Because if we're only talking about 1%, we can't then say men are, right? Yes. So that's what I'm saying. So my point is to remove that phrasing of men are the protectors and providers, because they're not. It's the same as I've got here separately. Men are not protectors, right? They're not. Men are not protectors. Men are not providers. But there are a lot of men out there that believe it's their role as a man to be one. And I'm saying that's rooted in patriarchal, systemic oppression, and that's upholding misogynistic beliefs. If your main belief is I need to provide for a woman, why? Why do you think that that's a role of you as a man to do? If you feel like she needs providing for, or that makes you more of a man, it doesn't make you more of a man. So there's a lot with it. But yeah, that's why I would say that phrase alone needs to be removed.
Yes. Yeah, I think I totally agree with you on that point. I think it shouldn't be like, men are the providers in a healthy relationship, modern relationship. It should be like, the husband and the wife, or any like relationship actually, just they should like provide for each other, instead of like one providing and one just like, stick on that receiver role. And yeah, but I mean, in that case, I should like agree with you 100% on like what you said about like, men should not, what men should be provider, that phrase should be just removed, because that's totally just, solid background think of like how does like someone should living based on like some of their like roles and gender reality that happens. But yeah, I think that answers like the first and the third question. But yeah, just briefly, I want to talk about the second question also, because the misogyny, the word misogyny have like I think it has like a really clear definition of like what that means, but it's like overused in some cases at least. Is that men would rather blame women than unpack their misogyny. I mean, I do agree that probably some part of myself has the misogyny belief that it's not correct, but this misogyny blaming is also kind of scaring people because when some man is blaming a woman for something that is not really like related to like discriminating against women, for example, like maybe they just like mess up something. Maybe they just, for example, a lady mess up cutting a watermelon, and then like a man blame the lady, and then that man is called like a misogyny. I think that's a really dangerous case because it shouldn't be like someone is so afraid of like blaming the other just because they do not want to be called a certain thing. That is totally not related to discrimination, and that's like sort of another oriented discrimination, because when you just speak anything could be defined as a misogyny, then that could be like just like a pocket thing that anyone can just throw into there and blame other for. I'll just hear from you.
So like men are not going around blaming women for cutting up a watermelon incorrectly, right? That's not a good example. We're talking about the things that we're talking about the things that men are trying to hold women accountable for, right? So if you could give me an example of something that women need to be accountable for, I would say that that's men's example of being misogynistic, thinking that women have to be accountable for something that isn't rooted in something men already created and caused and continue to uphold. Right, like a thing like watermelon, like that's not something that men around there are collectively saying that is a problem with what women are doing. So that's why it kind of links into my bottom point, which is that I don't think men can hold women accountable for, because otherwise, what is it men are focusing on? The key point is that I say they'd rather blame women than unpack their misogyny. So it's going down the route of saying, if you're actively saying something misogynistic and that's an opportunity to unpack it, instead of doing that, that individual would rather try and find a way to blame women. So we're not talking about just random things that aren't related to misogyny. We're talking about men actually unpacking their misogyny. And I'm saying when that opportunity comes. So look, did you hear from the previous guest at all?
Yes and no. He kind of like talks a little bit blurry, so I didn't really like get the whole picture of like what he's trying to talk about.
The previous guest, right? Insecurities.
Yes.
Body count also is very heavily, a misogynistic concept because of purity culture. Different talking point, but related slightly. All three things that he did was focus on what she might do to him based on body count. Instead of him unpacking his insecurity, he wanted to try and put the blame on the fact that she would do something to hurt him. She would cheat on him. She would leave him, right? She wouldn't be honest. Like, those are the things that he was focusing on. So instead of trying to unpack, it was, I'm going to blame the decisions she made. What was the other thing he said about her, the person who might have a high body count? She's got a troubled past. Again, blaming her, focusing on her. That's the point I'm saying. Men would rather blame women than unpack their misogyny. Those kind of talking points is what I mean.
Okay, so just for example, like one of the things that you said, the misogyny will be in this definition will be, for example, some men call themselves a protector or a provider, and then just blame the women to be the receiver and the one being protected. That's one of the example that maybe suit like your explanation for like what misogyny is.
So they'll say things like women want protectors, women want providers. They'll say women want men that are over 6 foot. Women want men that have got a lot of money. So of course it's my role to be a protector and a provider because that's what women want. And it's like, why are you blaming women? Why are you blaming women when it was men who told you that this is what makes you more of a man? It's not women that ever said that. Women never had a voice. Women never had a voice or a choice in that sense. So it's men that basically said, this is what makes you more masculine. This is what helps you to create more wealth. This is what helps you to have more power, more dominance. Women then being conditioned under that patriarchal system to be like, this is exactly what I should be looking for in a man and what I'm more drawn towards because of their success, or because of their power, whatever it might be. That's how internalized misogyny is created. So men are always trying to shift onto women without recognizing that actually men have created a system and continue to uphold it today.
Okay. All right. And yeah, I agree with what you just said. And about like the protector problem, you talk about like draft and military and everything, and I think that's basically correct. But for those things, I think like one of the most important things that should happen, not like, even if we consider like the future war will be like a whole unified war, there still need to be like police force and some military force to like deal with kind of like weird obscure cases. I think.
Hold on, sorry. the only reason you say that is because that's the world you're used to now.
Mhm.
We used to live in a world where there was no such thing as military, and there was no such thing as like needing to protect, because everyone got along just fine until men decided to change the ways that we treat one another. Again, it's
I-
not women that did this, right?
Yeah.
So
I
men
doubt. Sorry.
No, go on.
I'm sorry. I just doubt a little bit of like what you said. I mean, like there's definitely some like military practice and everything that doesn't really exist before the the civilization started. But similar form of like military should always exist, because like even back then when there was like no nation and no even clans, people have to defend themselves against wild creatures and everything. So similar form of the military still like exists. I don't mean like the military that like like nation used to fight each other. I mean like the military to just maintain the basic amount of security. I know that the scale and how big is it is not that it's not definite in many cases, but I think there's like a bare minimum standard for like that should be like maintained as an organization, because there's always danger on this world that individually is hard to deal with. It's not only women, it's also men.
But that danger that you talk about is only on the basis of men causing it.
Not really. I mean, like all the things like nature disasters and everything, we need like some sort of police force and military to like
There's
help.
There's an assumption that there aren't women in those roles already or contributing to helping in those situations. There's an assumption that after that disaster, all women are just sitting on a chair doing nothing and letting the men take care of it. It's not the
Yes,
case.
I think that's like a really dangerous assumption, and kind of like what's happening right now. I think like in those cases, the police and military should be like totally equal to men and women, and everyone should be able to like join in that organization. And when there's like a required draft, everyone should be drafted instead of like just men. I think that's like the major discrimination and assumption is coming from at this moment. What do you think about it?
Well, again, I think we have to recognize that if men are disproportionately harming women and girls, and that's statistically backed up, and it's getting worse, not better, then that sounds like that's happening a lot more than natural disaster. Right. So, the fact that we, have to interact with one another, the same as the draft, like how often are there wars that we're seeing? So, yeah, again, just to let you know, I've got a lot of guests waiting, so I will have to switch it up in a second. But in general, I don't think that that's something in comparison to the way that men are treating women and representing people. I don't think that we should be looking at that and ignoring it and sort of saying that, it's the same as the providers, right? This concept of being protectors. What are men protecting women from if it's not men themselves? And what are men protecting on a daily basis where we can call men protectors? There isn't anything, because men will give hypotheticals. They'll say, let's say you're walking down the street with a partner and someone, starts a fight on you, and it's like, okay, that's a hypothetical. Let's say that someone breaks into your home, another hypothetical. It's like these things aren't happening to you individually all the time. Men are not coming home from work or whatever they're doing, sitting on the sofa and thinking someone's going to break in any minute now, I'm on high alert. They're just coming home and getting on with their life, right? They're not in this protective mode every time as if something's going to happen. And once again, if you were going to follow through with that hypothetical, I would say pretty much every time the example would be a man causing the harm.
I don't think it's a hypothetical, like in my case of assumptions. Sorry, I know I have to end. Just the last point. So it's just like the military and police are, more seen as the protector. I mean, they cause trouble, but they're more seen as a protector in the society. So I think it should be like equal chance or even equal like numbers of men and women in those kind of roles. So that in that case, those roles should harm less on exactly like women or like some kind of gender or some kind of ethnic groups.
I haven't quite got the link with me right now, but I know that women make up, I think it's 20 to 30%.
Yeah, there's already enough existence there, but I think there should be like more equal amount there in there. Yeah.
No, sorry. What I mean is women make up 20 to 30% of protective roles in society, and men make up 9 to 10. So even if we're talking about protective roles, women hold more of those positions than men do. But anyway, I'm going to switch up because I've got a few other people waiting. But I appreciate you coming up with that.
Nice talking to you too. Have a good afternoon.
Take care, buddy. Bye-bye. I do apologize, Darian, but it's unlikely today just because there's lots of guests to speak with. Pet, age, and pronouns, please. Hey, Rob, long time.
Hello,
Hi.
I'm he, him,
And your age, sorry?
35.
Thank you. Which prompt you disapproved?
With body count doesn't matter.
Okay, what do you want to say about it?
So I'm in a relationship, right? And if either of us told the other person, listen, I want to increase my body count, I don't think either of us would be okay with that.
While you're in a relationship?
What? Why am I in a relationship?
No, as in while you're in a relationship? What do you mean outside?
No, when we're in a relationship.
Yeah, so that would be cheating, wouldn't it?
Yeah, so that's why body count matters.
No, that would be why cheating matters, because you would have gone outside of the boundaries of your relationship, because you can also cheat without having schmecks.
Yes.
Okay, so it's not a body count issue, it's a cheating issue.
No, it's a body count issue.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
So if your partner decided to go and kiss 10 guys tomorrow, would you stay with her?
If she asked before and I agreed, sure.
Okay, so would you agree?
To kissing other people, sure.
Okay, what about oral?
It depends if you feel that as a body count or not. Personally, I don't.
Not having schmecks.
If it's not smacks, then I don't care.
Okay, so you're in an open relationship.
No.
Okay, polyamorous?
I'm not sure what that means, but
Okay, so you're saying that if she went and had schmecks with someone else, you would break up with them.
yeah,
Why would you not want them to have schmecks with someone else?
for the same reason they don't want to have me with other people.
Yeah, that doesn't tell me the reason. That just tells me that she agrees with the same principle, but what's the reason? Like, you can do all the other things with another person, but you can't have schmecks. Why that?
It's risky.
It's risky.
Yeah,
What's the risk if you're both using protection?
protection can fail.
Okay. So how often do you get tested?
Monthly.
Okay, that's good. So essentially, you're only saying it's a risk based on contracting an STI.
Yeah, or you know, they might get pregnant.
Okay, so that's what matters to you then, that they could get an STI or they could get pregnant.
Basically.
Okay, so now we know what matters to you, right? That's not body count, that's catching an STI.
No, not gonna happen when she's sleeping only with me.
I don't think you're making a point here.
Well, how is she gonna get pregnant when she's only sleeping with me?
You said that you wouldn't want her to go and sleep with anyone else because that's why body count matters.
Yeah.
But you told me the reason why you wouldn't want her to sleep with anyone else is in case she contracts an STI. So that's not body count, that's STI. You've changed your mind in a matter of a minute.
No, because it's STI or a pregnancy.
Okay. Again, that's not body count then, is it? That's two different things.
No, it's pretty much increased by having a high body count.
Well, it's not, is it? Because you can also contract an STI from oral schmecks, and you said that would be okay. So I don't think you're consistent with your points. You need to come back when you can have some consistency, because it's not following at the moment. Keith? No, okay. Jones, age and pronouns, please.
He, him,
And your age?
18.
Thank you. Which prompt do you disagree with?
Body count doesn't matter.
Sure. What do you want to say about it?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, what do you want to say about it?
Well, why would you put in effort for something that she's given to other people for free, you know?
Would it have been okay if she charged?
No.
So why did you need to say it was for free?
Well, they're just sleeping around and it's weird. Why would you want to be with someone that's got such low character?
So let's not say weird because that's ableist. Secondly, that's got nothing to do with someone having a low character. That's just your judgment. So that's your opinion that's being projected. That doesn't make it factual.
So why do you think it doesn't matter then?
Because it doesn't tell you anything factual about who she is as a person. If you have an issue with a woman's body count, it's rooted in misogyny or insecurities. Sometimes both. If it's misogyny, we know misogyny at its worst can unalive great Benesse women. If it's insecurities, then it's okay if you admit to it. But if you're projecting it onto the other person, that's a problem.
That does not happen.
Okay, you still haven't told me what your reason is, apart from that she gives it for free to other people. So you've already proven to me that that's misogyny, assuming that a woman is just giving her body away for free, as if it's like a transactional thing. You then also said that that's low character. So when you say that's not happening, your words have just demonstrated that it is. Anything else? Okay. Arc self, age, and pronouns, please.
29. He, him.
Thank you. Which prompt do you disagree with?
The first one, men have never provided for women.
Okay. What would you like to say about it?
Yeah, I believe that's completely wrong. In all honesty, me and our providers, that's just our natural. Uh, this life is muted by the 3 day. Oh yeah, that's just our natural response. That's our natural evolution. We are, that's what we do. We provide. Now, who are we providing for? It could be a woman, it could be a child, it could be ourselves. At the end of the day, me and our providers and me and our territorial, those are the two things that male, me and ours. So, I mean,
Yeah, using words like territorial is just trying to give men an out for trying to be possessive and controlling.
it has nothing to do with being alpha at all.
Then don't use the word territorial.
Territorial is a great word to understand what you own and what you have. It has
You don't
nothing to do
own,
with being
you
an
don't
alpha.
own your partner. You don't own your partner. That's what. I mean, you just proved my point in a second.
I didn't say I owned my partner.
So then, why do you need to use territorial when we're talking about how you are towards women?
It says men have never provided for women.
Yeah,
So
and
we're
then you
talking
just
about
went
what
on
they
to say-
provide.
and then you
And
went
I'm
on to say
I'm
that
talking
men are-
about what they provide.
But you then went on to say men are territorial. So over what?
Yes.
Over what?
What the provisions.
The what? Sorry.
Provisions, not women. Provisions.
So what are they providing?
House, cars,
Did men provide
resources.
Sorry.
Resources.
What do you mean they provide with a house and car? Did every man build
Resources. Resources.
What resources?
Resources.
What resources?
Men have resources, yes.
Yeah, so do women. So what resources do men have that women
No,
don't?
women always did not have resources, and even to this day, men have more resources than women. Are you saying that it's not true?
So what was the reason women didn't have resources? Was it because men didn't let them?
No. But you now see now you moving the goalposts. You asked me how are men territorial, and I told you provisions. You said we can't own women. So I'm asking you, why would you even completely even say that when I was talking about provisions from the jump?
Because we're talking about how men provide for women.
Provide. So start there before you even move to the
Still,
women part.
The word territorial is
So-
still rooted. The word territorial is still rooted in possession and ownership, and men use that.
Possession
men
of.
use that to assume that they can also do that towards women.
You thought of the woman. I thought of provisions of
This is about
ownership of
unpacking men's
resources.
misogyny. This is about unpacking men's misogyny, so it's inclusive.
I'm talking about resources.
So it's inclusive of attitudes towards women.
I'm
So-
talking about resources, though.
Okay, thank you for letting me know.
Okay, so you did not say that. You cut me
Okay.
off and then you said women.
Okay,
That's our first issue right there.
Okay, are
See,
you
I'm-
going to let me speak, or am I going to have to drop you?
No, because I was talking and you cut me off.
Wind spikes, because like there's heightened emotions going on here, and wind spikes. Men have used that, which, as I said earlier, to believe that in relationships, make sure women don't wear certain clothes, make sure women don't have friends with men. So I'm saying that word is in itself harmful to attach to men, because then men can go and use it for those. Gator, if you want to go and ride hard for misogynists, that's fine. It's not going to get you very far though, buddy. Charlie, age and pronouns, please. Sorry, Charlie, just bear me 1 second. Those in the chat, just as a reminder as well, when the guests are up here, please make sure that if you are saying anything to the guests, it is about the points they're making, not who they are as an individual. No insults, no personal attacks, no ad hominems. That's not what we're here for. We're here to educate. If they want to start getting personal and they want to throw that out, we will mute, we will block. That's fine. But ultimately, if men are coming up to unpack and learn, having insults thrown at them is just not going to help. If you're triggered by it, I completely understand that can happen, but please just take a break and then come back after, okay? Charlie, sorry, age and pronouns, please.
18 him.
Thank you. Which prompt do you disagree with?
Body count doesn't matter.
Okay, what would you like to say about it?
I think that if they have a past of, you know, as that guy before said, giving it out for free, which I'm not like assuming, but if it's high enough at a young age, it kind of does say what they think about themselves.
Again, that's an assumption. It doesn't say anything about what they think of themselves. You would just be judging and assuming. What is it they're giving, by the way? What are they giving for free?
Their body, I guess.
So are men giving their body back?
Nah. Well, yeah.
So it's just women that give their body, men don't. Men keep all of their body, but women give theirs away. Is that what it is?
No, but it's more, you know, as a sim football, it's better to score 5 goals than to concede 5.
Ooh, so women are now football. Okay.
No, you know what I mean, though.
Yeah, no, I know what you're saying. You're again upholding misogyny, right? Because you're trying to compare women to football scores. Do you ever notice that, like, when men do this, right? In all analogies, the man remains the man, and the woman suddenly turns into an object. Have you noticed that? Like, women suddenly is like letting in goals.
No,
Right.
but she's the keeper. She's the goalkeeper. So a person.
So she does get to remain a human. Fantastic. Okay, so she's
Yeah,
just so you're saying that the balls are flying past her, and that's a bad thing. So therefore, having schmecks is a bad thing. But if men have schmecks, i.e., scoring the goal, then that's a good thing. So a man with a body count of 5 means he scored 5 goals. But a woman with a body count of 5, she's let in 5 goals. Is that what you're saying?
Yep.
So you're saying it's okay for men and not okay for women?
Yeah, but it goes the same way, obviously, with different things.
So, but just to confirm, it's okay for men to have a high body count, but not women.
Yep.
So now you see the misogyny.
Not particularly.
Think about it. It's okay for men to have schmecks, but not women. Like, just give yourself a couple of minutes to think about what you've just said there, right? Okay for men to have schmecks, but not okay for women to have schmecks. But yet, are you interested in women or men?
Women.
Women. So imagine now if every time you wanted to have schmecks with a woman, her response to you was, I don't want to let in any more goals. No.
Well, then that'd be her undervaluing you, you know?
No, that would be you upholding misogyny to her. She's not undervaluing you. She's basically saying, you're telling us that we shouldn't have sex. So on that basis, I'm going to stop. Would you be okay with women not having schmecks anymore?
I don't think that would work, but yeah.
So you don't think women should have schmecks anymore?
Well, obviously it depends. Situation.
We're talking about the situation you're giving me.
Yeah, but body count's more, you know, they're going to have at least a couple, obviously.
No,
But I mean, if it's like high, then bro.
I was giving you a couple of minutes to think about exactly what you said. You basically said it's okay for men to have schmecks, but not women. But yet, if men are going to have schmecks and we're talking about a hetero-schmexual dynamic, then it would be with women. So how's this going to work in your mind? How does it play out?
Because you know, you only go for one, really. That's how it's supposed to go.
So you're only meant to ever have schmecks with one person.
Ideally, yeah.
Are you religious?
No.
Okay, so why are you only meant to have schmecks with one person?
What's the issue with that, though?
No, I'm asking why it has to be that way.
That's just ideal, isn't it? Would you rather have 2 or 1? You know what I mean?
I wouldn't care. It doesn't change anything. I'd rather have
I don't
someone.
think
who
it's
I actually, so that's like okay. So that's like me saying to you, you've met your dream. Oh, you've met your dream potential partner. She's got everything about her that you want, right? Her interests, the way she makes you laugh, how you feel when you're around each other. And then you've got another woman who doesn't quite give you that same feeling, but you like her. The one that you like has a body count of 1, but the one who is everything you've ever wanted has a body count of 2. Who are you going to be with?
2.
Okay, so then body count doesn't matter.
Okay, but if it was 22, then I'd pick differently.
Oh, so you'd go with the person who you only like because the other person who's perfect for you has a body count of 22. So you'd scratch everything about that relationship because she's had schmecks with other men?
That many, yeah.
Why? Why are you bothered about that?
Because I can't confirm that it's been like with protection.
Yes, you can. You can say to her, do you have an up-to-date STI test that you can show me? And she can go, yeah, here it is. And then she's shown you one and it shows she's got no STIs because she takes care of her health. Now what?
So do you don't think that's like a not a bad thing? All if they're 50.
Again, if she's going to show you an STI test and it shows that she's clear, your point was about STIs. So if the number shows, sorry, not the number, if the test shows it's clear, then why does the number now matter? She hasn't got anything, so what are you worried about?
There you go. Appreciate that.
Do you understand?
Yeah.
So it's just basically safe schmecks that you have an issue with.
Safe.
Safe schmecks. That's what you have an issue with. Practicing.
Why would safe be the issue?
You just said that they might have an STI. So if they weren't safe with their schmecks, then they could contract one. So what I'm saying, what you're worried about is that they might have an STI. If you're practicing safe schmecks, then you're not going to have an STI.
That's true.
So I'm saying to you, that's what the issue is for you, is if women don't practice safe schmecks.
Yep.
Cool. Okay, so we got there. It's not
Yeah, that sound. Right.
Bye,
See you
Charlie.
later.
I don't really know whether that was a success or not. Yeah. Quaintrell, absolutely you can. Completely agree. Yeah, I don't know. Remy, age and pronouns, please.
I don't know, E, and yeah, 30, age 31.
Thank you. Which prompt do you disagree with?
I think maybe quite a lot, but I think I'll go for the first one, which is men have never provided for women. They restricted. I think I agree with the other part who says they restricted women from providing for themselves. I think that's true because, historically, women were never given education and other things like that. So I agree with that. But that first part of men have never provided for women, I don't think that's true. But I think the other clause is true, which is we restricted women from, providing for themselves, which is historically women were not allowed to work and they were not allowed to, do a lot of things. But why I think that men have provided, obviously, most, not all men, because in every data we always have outliers. So not all men. You're going to see a lot of men that will come out and be like, they don't want to even do anything for their woman or something like that. So, but that doesn't speak for all men. And I would say majority, on an average, most men contribute more financially in a relationship on an average. If you bring out the stats, and again, I would tell you something that you might say, oh, men have never provided for women. They restrict women from providing for themselves. At the end of the day, the average woman that is actually working, that is making her own money, trust me, deep inside of her, if she was to choose the kind of man she wants, she would want a man that is going to lead in terms of paying for dates, that is going to when I mean lead, don't get me wrong. When I mean lead, I don't mean lead you like a child.
Remy, I need to trust you on that, yeah? Like, I don't listen to women, don't listen to what women say. I have to trust you that that's what women want, right?
Yeah, so I don't mean, when I say lead, because you started laughing, I didn't mean lead like, oh, you're leading your child or something. I mean, like, for instance,
That's not what they meant.
for instance, the average woman out there wants a man. She doesn't want to be telling a man where she wants to go. She doesn't want to be having to tell a man that, this, I want to go out on dates, do spontaneous things like travel and stuff like that. So on an average, most women want a man that is going to plan spontaneous trips, is going to take her on dates. She wouldn't have to worry about planning a date. Do you understand? So, and an average good man, that's what he should be doing. So I would say on an average, men are providers.
Remy, what's an average good man?
An average good man is someone that listens, that has emotional intelligence.
Wait, sorry, Remy. Someone that listens to have emotional intelligence, but here you are speaking for women on what they want when that's not what women are looking for anymore. I'm going to have to put you out of the contradiction there. Like you're not. If you were listening to women, then you would be recognizing that that's not what women are looking for.
Well, from my experience of dating, I don't know, but from my experience of dating, I know most women don't want to teach a man how to plan a date.
Remember, your experience is anecdotal, though, and also no one's saying that you have to teach. It's just recognizing that that's not what women want from men. Like, just as a statement, women are not looking for men to lead them because women can't make decisions for themselves.
You're getting the word lead. You are talking like I said lead as in, you're leading an army or something. I didn't mean it that way.
I didn't say that. I said leading in terms of the dating, as in to plan a date. You're the one that said that women don't want to teach men how to plan a date. That's what I'm responding to, right? Women are not waiting for men to take the lead on that.
On an average, I'll say yes. On an average, I'll say yes, because on an average, no woman wants to be with a guy that is not going to take her out on dates, that she has to be the one, initiating dates. A woman doesn't want to be the one initiating dates. It has to come from a man. And if a man loves you, that's what he's going to do. Why are we acting like kids? That's the truth. If a man loves you, he's going to initiate dates. So you're telling me right now that a woman is perfectly fine with being with a man, even if he doesn't initiate dates, like she wants to be the one being like, let's go out on dates and stuff. No, we both know this is true. Like, let's be factual here. That's the truth there. Let's be factual. A woman prefers to be with a
Don't say let's be factual and then give me something that's not factual.
Now, I'm not saying women. Okay, let me tell you this way, right? I've been in a relationship, right? And it's not to say that because I'm saying men should initiate date doesn't mean that the girl I've been with, she didn't initiate dates sometime. But I'm saying that on a general, they want you to do that more than them. I'm perfectly okay with that, to be honest.
Do I think there are women out there that would like a man to plan dates? Of course, right? But ultimately, what we need to recognize is things are changing. Like, it's not the same as it used to be in the 50s. That's just not what it's like anymore, okay? There are plenty of women out there that are happy to initiate dates or give ideas, contribute to the conversation and the dynamic on dating, etc. But also, it's not just men that are approaching women all the time. That's how it always used to be, because it was rooted in this idea that chivalry was something that men would do to demonstrate how they were interested in you. I think what we need to acknowledge here is, can you tell me the top 2 things that you think women are looking for in men? That will help me a little bit more. What do you think they are?
The top 2 things I think is there's quite a lot in my head, but if I was to rank it top 2, I think one of it is emotional intelligence. That's one of it, emotional intelligence.
Someone's been here before.
And let me think of one other thing that would come before the other is, after emotional intelligence, I would say, let's say good emotional intelligence comes with a good listener. So I wouldn't really say that. But I also say someone that is actually considerate, that considers the feelings, that, just also want the best for her, like treat her like a human being, you understand? Let her feel heard and stuff like that. I think it's a lot. So I don't know the exact thing to say. Everything, it's a lot, but I'll put that as more important than, money and providing. Obviously, that's more important. I would say in terms of providing and doing some other things, that's like secondary and bottom tier, and it depends on the woman. So, but I would say it's always a nice to have for a woman, but it's not compulsory. That's how I would say it. when it comes to monetary aspect is a nice to have, but it's not compulsory. So regardless that a woman says, "Oh, I don't care about your money," even if truly she doesn't care about your money, it's still a nice to have. It's still a nice thing to get her nice things. She's gonna appreciate it. Do you understand? But it's not a top priority for most good women out there.
All right. Remy, I'm going to bring some other people up. Thank you for coming up
Yeah, sorry. One more thing. Let me just talk about the other prompt and I'll go.
Oh, right. Sure. Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, so for the body count doesn't matter part, because for me, I think it matters for both people. For you as a man or woman, I think it matters for anyone. But I want to ask you a question. Do you have kids?
I do.
So let's say you have a son and your son just got to 18, right? And your son still lives with you while he's 18, but he's in uni. But your son keeps coming home that, "Dad, now that I'm 18, you just want that your son starts bringing different girls into your house." And, one day you spoke to him and it was like, "Dad, I've already slept with 60 women. I'm now 18, so I believe I can sleep with anyone I want." As a father, what would you tell him?
You say he's 18?
Yeah, I'd say he's 18. He's of age now and he's living with you. And you see, today he brings in a girl. 2 weeks later, he brings in another girl. Is that what?
Woman.
Yeah, he brings in another woman. Next month he's with another woman, and at the end of the day, one day you just realize that he slept with like 50, 60 people already. So what will you tell him? You tell him that it's perfectly okay, keep doing what you're doing.
I'd ask him if he's being safe.
Yeah, and if you say he's being safe, like you don't find it weird that your son is coming on with different women, but he's being safe. You wouldn't be like, "Son, that is not something you should be doing."
If he's being safe and consensual, he's 18, he's an adult.
So,
like, if it's under my roof, then obviously I'm gonna want to know, like, especially if he's being safe and consensual, sure. But ultimately, that's his choice. He's an adult.
So you're telling me now that deep down inside your heart, if your son is 18 and every single week you're seeing him with different women, you'll be like, the only thing you're concerned about is safety. You're not going to be like, "Son, why are you actually doing this? Why can't you just stay with one person, see someone you like, and dating?"
Why would I tell my son what he should do with his romantic life?
No, like normal advice, like, why are you being with different women every time? Like, why can't you just find someone you probably like? You think as a father you wouldn't say that to him? Because what I'm sensing from here is like what I'm sensing from here now is that you don't actually want to answer the question correctly, because that's not what the father is going to do.
Yeah, do you know why? Do you know why? Because those men hold on to misogyny, and those men have a lot of unpacking to do. That's why. You're looking for me to give you the answer that the majority of men would say.
No, it's not about a lot of men.
Even have unpacking to do and don't recognize that it's none of their business what their son does if they're 18 or over.
It's not about a lot of men. I believe a lot of women too, they wouldn't agree with that. Their son should be doing that.
Remy, don't ask me a question if you don't like my answer because you don't believe it. Like, you ask me a question, I answer it to you. If you're going to choose not to believe it just because other men say differently, again, that's a you issue, right? The bottom line is, if he's being safe and consensual and he's 18 or over, it's not my business. That's it. I don't need to push him. I don't need to push him into going into a relationship.
No, I'm not talking about pushing him going to a relationship, because I'm just saying I agree now. That's the way you think. Because for me, for instance, what I'll just do is I'll just talk to my son and be like, "Son, why are you bringing different women to the house? This is not a good thing. Like, why can't you just get to know someone and probably date someone, or you stop bringing people into my house and just having smacks with them?" So, and that's why, to me, context just matters when it comes to body count, I guess. Because if I'm dating someone and the person says I'm 30, I wouldn't really be bothered about that. The only thing that's going to bother me is if, for instance, there's like something just odd about it. Like, for instance, if a girl is 30 and she tells me she slept with 15 guys, I wouldn't be bothered about that. But if you're like, "Oh, I'm 30," and you're like, "Oh, I slept with 200 people," there's some kind of thing that would just be like, that doesn't sound okay to me. Do you understand? So
it doesn't sound okay to you because you have an issue with it. It's not your business.
It's not about it doesn't sound, so you think it's okay if someone told you slept with 200 people?
Again, is he over the age of 18 and being safe and consensual? I don't care. You know, that's up to him. If that's what he wants to do, that's his choice. Would you have an issue with your son being a Schmex worker?
Yes.
Oh, well, yeah, we're going to leave it there then, Remy. That's telling enough. Ben, age and pronouns, please.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yep, age and pronouns, please.
19, he.
Thank you. Which prompt do you disagree with?
Body count don't matter.
Yeah, sure. We haven't spoke about that for a while. What do you want to say about it?
Like, I don't know, the more body count you have, the more chance you have an STD.
STI? That's not true.
I mean, like, imagine, right? Like, even for men and women, yeah? Like, you wouldn't want to think about all the people that they've been with before you.
Oh, so that's an insecurity. That's not an issue with their body count. That's you being concerned with thinking about the other people that they've been with.
Probably, but the thing is, right? Like, say if you're right, for example, right? It's for men and women as well.
Okay.
All of us have that insecurity.
Fine, but that's not a body count issue. That's an insecurity issue. Because there are people out there who wouldn't have an issue with that, and yet the person presented to them has the same body count. One person's fine with it, the other isn't. So the body count's not the issue, it's the interpretation of that body count that bothers you.
Right, but say if you're a man, right, and you're with a woman, and then she says, "Oh, like she's insecure about how many like women you've had."
Yep.
Like, would you say to her, like, would you reassure her, "Oh, I've not been with anyone," right? Or would you say, like,
I mean, lie to her.
well, no, I don't know.
Ultimately,
Like, would you feel bad about her, like, thinking about how many people you've been with? Like, would you feel bad about that?
So just because I wouldn't really like it doesn't mean that doesn't mean it's a me issue or it's a body count issue. Like someone who has an insecurity over something, right? Of course you would try and support someone you love that has an insecurity about anything, but it doesn't remove the fact that it's not the body count that's the problem. The insecurity is the problem. So that's why when men say that they have an issue with a woman's body count, they don't. They have an issue on what that body count triggers for them. It doesn't mean the body count's the problem, it's your interpretation of it.
Well, it's society, isn't it? Like, say it's a societal thing. So, like, say if you're with a woman, right, and then you know that some of the guys making fun of you, right, that might not get to you, right? Yeah, I know.
No, this is good.
I know.
Keep going.
Right, like in usual circumstances, that might not get to you as much. But the thing is, right, if you have people that are making fun of that, that's going to get to you more, a whole lot more than if it were just a thing where people didn't make fun of that.
Sure. So
You know?
what people are making fun of you that know your partner's body count, that's not even like necessarily public business. It's not anyone else's business. So what people are making fun of you for that?
Well, it's 2026, things get round, don't they?
Like
You
what?
know?
Like who is someone that you don't know is going to come up to you and go, "Ha, your partner's got a body count of 30." People don't do that. People don't just walk up to you when they don't know you and say things like that. So who is laughing at you, if anyone?
Well, no one, not me personally, but what I'm saying is,
So
say if you're
who?
at college or something,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, like, even if it's a lie, yeah, and people are lying, people spread false rumours, don't they, saying, "Oh, I've been with your woman," whatever, right? And say if they're just doing it to spite you, right? Even if it's not true at all, like, that's going to be in your mind, isn't it? Right? But, like, in usual circumstances, if they weren't doing that, like, it might not matter at all to you. But the fact that people are saying that, like, it's more the social thing that's getting to you, isn't it? You know?
So again, what
people think about you.
So again, what you're not recognizing is the body count's not the issue. It's men's behavior in that situation, as Darian
That's
saying.
exactly what I'm saying, though.
Okay, but then that's not a body count issue, is it?
Mm.
The issue is the men out there who are, as Darian says, upholding grape culture by spreading lies about having schmecks with women. You know?
Blokes do exaggerate, don't they, to think, oh, I'm important, I'm James Bond, that type of thing. You know?
For any other better example, sure, yes. Like there are men out there that do overestimate, that do, you know, say things like you just described. But ultimately, what I'm trying to get you to realize is that this isn't a body count issue, right? Look, there's friends. There are men that have friends who would laugh at them for being with a woman that has a high body count, right? My point is that firstly, that's not friends. If you've got quote unquote friends that are doing that, get new friends. Secondly, yeah, I get it. If people out there are deciding to engage in that grape culture, that's not going to be nice to be around. I completely get that. And it still doesn't change the fact that, you know, the body count's not the issue. It's men's behavior or men's insecurities, men's misogyny. That's where it all comes back to.
Right, but like, you wouldn't like that, would you? Say, like people saying that about you and that.
I don't think anyone would, but it doesn't change the fact that that's not a body count issue. You're deviating away from the body count being an issue. You're now
say if it was like back in the olden days where you'd just be a man, you'd never meet any woman, right, before, and then you get with a woman who's same as you, like virgin, not had sex before. You get married, and that'd be it, yeah. And then neither of you be thinking about anyone else because you'd just be thinking about each other.
Okay, so that still doesn't remove the fact that if you found out down the line that your partner's body count was 10, you'd then have a problem with it. It doesn't remove the insecurity just because just because the insecurity hasn't been triggered, it doesn't mean it's not there.
But what if our brains are just developed so like we remember that stuff?
Well, that's what social conditioning has done under patriarchy, is led men to believe that it's okay to joke about these things, it's okay to ridicule, it's okay to mock, it's okay to shame. It's also, from your example, okay to make up lies about having schmecks with women when they didn't, which is just disgusting.
I mean, that's a bit weird. Why would you lie about that?
Well, okay, let's not say weird because that's ableist. But to come back to that, it was your example. Like your example was that that's something a man might do. I'm just saying that in general, anything that you say about this situation is slowly coming away from body count being an issue. If you have a problem with your partner or potential partner's body count because you think things like that might happen, that is still a you issue. Okay?
Yeah, but you know, people make fun of that, don't they? You know, say if your missus been with someone, then they're gonna make jokes about it. You know.
Okay, but if your friends are making jokes about it, they're not friends. Plenty of things to joke about in the world. Why go down the route of upholding grape culture and misogyny?
What about pair bonding? To like, say every time you know you interact with someone, yeah, right, then dopamine in your brain or whatever, yeah, lessens, and then that means that the next person you get with, like,
and there's no such thing as pair bonding with humans. The study was done on voles and swans.
Yeah, but voles and swans ain't human, are they?
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. The studies have not been done on humans to show that pair bonding exists between people. It was done on animals. So there's no such thing as pair bonding between humans.
Like, you know what, like all this Andrew Tate stuff, he's a liar, isn't he? You know, it's like
A generous word to use to describe him, but sure, let's go with that for now.
Yeah, like all this red pill, you got all this feminist stuff, right, which is left, but like TikTok, yeah, gets like the most extreme versions of things, right, and they put that into the algorithms, so like whoever's watching it, yeah, like they'll be watching it, and then say if you're young, that's going to go in your brain, innit? You know?
Well, there are a lot of young men on here that are watching certain things, yeah, and unfortunately there's a lot of red pill that, you know, makes it online with a big platform and big support. So yeah, this is just part of the problem, and that's why, you know, hopefully lives like this and others that we know are trying to counter that rhetoric to get men to realize actually that holding on to red pill opinions or beliefs is not only making things worse for women but men as well.
But like sometimes you have feminism that goes too far as well, where they're saying
of one thing, how feminism has gone too far that is actually a representation of feminism.
Well, I've seen a video like of this woman saying that air conditioning was sexist on the BBC. So,
well, and that's what feminism is it?
I don't know, saying, "Oh, we don't need a man to provide for us, or we don't need this." Like, why wouldn't you? You know,
That's
like,
true. That's
Like,
true, but Ben, that's not feminist ideology. That's just true. Women don't need a man to provide for them.
I mean, if you want to work in like an office job in like London or whatever, and you want to be working away for whoever, whatever your boss is, right? Then you're just going to spend your life working and working, and then you're going to get old, right? But say if you just wanted a man to like work for you and then give you money so you don't have to do it all.
You know, women don't want to depend on men anymore or rely on men anymore. And I say want to, they had no choice to in the past, so they didn't even want to back then. They just had to. You realize that also, like that exact example you gave is not like an office in London that is filled with women. Like there are men in those offices as well doing the same job. So those men are not technically providing for anyone, are they? If they're on the same wage as her.
Yeah, but say if you were a woman, right, and let's say you had the choice between working, say, as a hairdresser, but this is just an example, or whatever job you want to, in a pub or pulling pints, whatever, right? And you had a choice between getting with like someone who was rich, and then you didn't have to work a day in your life. Wouldn't you just want to not work a day in your life? Because that'd be easy, wouldn't it? Like,
not all women want that lifestyle, no. A lot of women actually, want to work. A lot of women do enjoy their work. A lot of women are passionate about their work. A lot of women don't do it for the money. Not everyone is money driven.
Yeah, but you can get why someone would want to, like just chill out a bit and say, if you wanted to have some kids and that, right, you'd have the kids and then you just spend the time looking after them or whatever and getting to know them and that. And then you wouldn't have to worry about what anyone else is doing because you just sit at home, do whatever you like, have your mates around or whatever,
You think that's what it is when women have children and they're at home with their kids, they just invite their mates around and just do whatever?
Whatever.
All right. Look, Ben, I appreciate you coming up. I've got a few more people to speak
Right.
to.
Thanks for your time.
Take care, buddy. Bye-bye.
Cheers.
I do apologize because it was constantly being dotted around to different talking points. I don't feel like there was a consistency on. Yeah, we suddenly went from body count to women pulling pints, along with other things as well. The media, age, no, not coming up. Ruth Brady, absolutely not. Muted. Goodbye. Really, Veron? I don't even think I need to guess why you've got numbers 6, 7 in your name. Ruth, I already muted you. I'm not bringing you up to the panel. Brando, age and pronouns, please. No, okay. Hello, age and pronouns, please.
I'm 18, he, him.
Thank you. Which prompt do you disagree with?
I agree with men can't hold women accountable.
Sure. What do you think women need to be held accountable for that men aren't already doing worse or more than?
Well, if we see within the definition of accountable, we can see 3 core concepts of responsibility, consequences. Oh, sorry, I'm back. Hold on. All right. Yeah, responsibility, consequences, and explanation.
Mm-hmm.
Right. When we see within explanation, we demand an explanation for the actions of one is what is doing. So if we take within the concept or a hypothetical relationship, if one person is committing harm amongst others, we should demand an explanation for it because it's committing harm. Say if we say for domestic abuse, if a female is committing domestic abuse on a child, then we would have to demand an explanation on it.
Woman, not female. So again, I'm going to ask the same question at the start because you didn't answer it. Can you tell me something women need to be held accountable for that men aren't already doing more than?
That men are doing what?
More than women. Because the example you just gave isn't something specific to women, because men
It
do
is
that.
specific to women.
No, it's not, because men do that. So that's not then something exclusive that women need to be held accountable for, because men need to be held accountable for that as well.
We can take between their option of choice within abortion, I guess, because they hold that choice. I guess
women don't need to be accountable for having access to healthcare.
access to healthcare. Well, that's in hypothetical.
No. Oh, goodbye. Oh, I don't know where that was going. Anonymous, age and pronouns, please. Hello. Rob, age and pronouns, please. They aren't going to shag yoy, mate. Okay. Nice profile. Rob's not there. Boss, age and pronouns, please. No? Okay. Okay, we've got a quiet spell. Lovely. Right, so for those of you that do not know, just in case you are new, we will be live tomorrow afternoon and evening. In the afternoon, it will be between 12 and 1 o'clock, and then it'll be 7:30 p.m. UK time for a double live. These lives will be uploaded to the other platform, which hopefully some of you can figure out which platform I'm talking about. The account name is Lex_therapy1. 3 lives have already been uploaded. I know some people have been watching. Thank you, Kitty, for putting that in the chat. And as to echo what Kitty said there, it has been quite disappointing, to be honest. I know there was a day break, but a lot of people in the chat were being very, very ableist, upholding a lot of ad hominems towards the guests. We don't do that here. We really don't. So if you're new to this space, please recognize that that's just not how we run things here. You will get muted. And depending on what you say and how far it goes, you will get blocked. And that's even if you consider yourself as a friendly and you want to support. That's not how we educate here. So whilst we are looking for people to obviously support the live and encourage men to come up to unpack their misogyny, if your wording is not demonstrating that, we don't want your advocacy. I'm sorry. Excuse me. We don't want your advocacy. And if you don't like how the live is run, that's absolutely fine. We're not saying you have to. We're not forcing you to stay here, but ultimately just go to a different live. Good question, Chetna. I will see where we are with that, because I don't entirely know, actually. We'll hear from Darian and then probably come to a close with a battle or two. But hello, Darian.
Hey, buddy. 29, he, him. Quick mod notice. I've had to mute a few friendlies tonight. And that's really bad and really sad. Because we don't like doing it, but it must be done. As Lex just previously said, we're an educational space. There are other spaces where you feel free to go and say what you want and behave however you want in those spaces, if that's what they allow. But that's not what we do here. we can't. It's not the goal. I really wish there was a way for me to make you guys understand the amount of hard work and the amount of trolling and abuse that gets sent to the mod team for the work that we do here in order to support Lex and help facilitate these lives. But more so the women mods and the femme presenting mods, that team, they get it more than the rest of us, even if I'm doing the same things. And it's really disheartening at this point to see that we have to mute friendlies. And it's at a point now where I'm like, if I know that you've been in here multiple times, I'm not even going to warn you anymore. I'm past the point of talking about it. And I think that message is kind of being spread amongst mods, is that it's actually it's hard enough. Our job is hard enough as it is dealing with ops, then having to repeat ourselves with friendlies. So just be mindful of that. The next thing I wanted to talk about just quickly is something one of the guests earlier spoke about, and I won't talk about it for long because, quite frankly, it's one of the most frustrating things that I will have ever heard someone openly admit on a platform. This idea that women are not allowed to have enjoy sex, but men are allowed to enjoy sex. It is really infuriating to listen to men on one hand say that things aren't bad and they aren't sexist or they're not misogynistic, but in the same breath also admit that they want certain rules for men and certain rules for women. You're quite literally wanting it so that women can't do the same things as men. When we are talking about sex lives, the same feelings of sexual desire that men have, women also have it. It just doesn't rule them the way it does for some reason men, and that's because of social conditioning. Social conditioning has taught men to think that feeling that they have between their pants is something that they need to chase fully, and it needs to be the thing that they be after. And the reality is, that is like, considering the average is like 7 minutes, that is like, I'm going to go on a limb and say that's like 5% of our lifetime. 5%. There's so much more to life than that. But more to the point, women are allowed to enjoy sex. I can't believe that we live in a society where where men are looking at it as a bad thing. And if we're being really honest about what that perspective really looks like, it really shows me that men prefer when women don't want to have sex, or men prefer when they don't enjoy sex, which then goes on to tell me that these men aren't, again, confirming to me, not telling me, because I know this already, but it confirms to me that men aren't treating women's sexual experiences as human experiences like them, therefore they don't care, which is why there's an O gap. But more to the point, and I think this goes further, is that men prefer it when women don't want to enjoy sex. And that tells me that we really do live in a great culture society as well, because if you prefer it when women don't want to have sex, but you're persistent and you're chasing it, and that's when you want to like quote unquote have sex with someone, not when she's willing to do it straight away or when she's willing to do it quote unquote easily, that tells me that what you're looking to do is coerce someone. Does it not? Like, let's keep that right now altogether. When men say they want a woman who isn't quote unquote easy, it means they want a woman who is quote unquote hard to get, and therefore their goal is to coerce them and enjoy the fact that the woman that they're chasing doesn't want to have sex. And as everyone here knows, coercion is what? So, anytime I hear this conversation, I'm going to instantly now have that thought in my head. Is that there's nothing that they can actually say to me that is going to justify this kind of warped perception about women's sexuality. It is an attempt to control, but it is an attempt to continue to abuse women's bodies. Because when this gets turned around and and all of a sudden these men, like by the grace of God, are finally put to trial. 5% of them actually make it to trial, but we get to the trial and all of a sudden you're smut shaming the woman for wanting to have sex with you. These things are all interlinked, interconnected, looped, and cycled. And so when I say you saying this is an excuse to control women's bodies, you're telling me yourself The proof is in the pudding. You want women to not want to have sex. In fact, the chase, as so many men say it, they want the chase. They want the chase. You shouldn't want the chase. Why are you trying to coerce women into having sex with you? You should want women to want to have sex with you, and you should care about her experience while you're doing it. If you tell me you don't, if you tell me that women shouldn't, I'm going to assume, and this is a bold statement, but I don't care. I'm going to assume you're a danger to women. I'm going to assume you're a danger to women. And there isn't anything that you can tell me that is going to change my perception of that until you retrain your entire way of thinking. I'm going to assume that the coercion you're wanting to persist, you've done it to someone else before, and as a result, you're a danger to women. You belong in jail. So, as I say, these conversations are infuriating. It is triggering for a lot of people, and I'm so sorry if anyone has felt triggered by some of it. But that doesn't mean, in this moment in time, on this educational space, you should be hurling ad hominem insults. You should be leaning into other oppressive systems. That's not what we do here. The moment you start being ableist and racist and transphobic, all the other isms is xenophobic. You lose the battle. Not the war, because the war will be there tomorrow, but you do lose the battle. Anyway, stay safe. I love you all. Thank you for listening. Thank you for hitting me up. Oh, just quick one. I have viewings for potential places this week. So if anyone could give me a follow and help me out so I can get to them, that would be great. But other than that, love you all. Protect each other. Engage critically with the information we're hearing. And challenge perspectives wherever possible, and when it's safe to do so. I do not expect everyone to sacrifice their own health and well-being, but I do expect that where possible, we have the difficult conversations that are needed to have in order to make sure that everyone, and I mean everyone, gets to live a safe and prosperous life. Anyway, love ya. Bye.
Appreciate you, buddy.